Well, gentlemen, congratulations. This movie is kick-ass hilarious. I loved it. Loved it. And I just want to know, I mean, how Sherlock savvy were the two of you before you started? How much did you have to dive into to prepare?
I knew nothing. I'd seen a couple of the TV shows over here when I was a kid, but the joy for me was going back to the books, and learning as it evolved.
I knew less than nothing, but I know that Guy grew up on those stories, and then started cracking books. There's an expert, the North American expert, Leslie Klinger. He's actually a tax lawyer by trade, happens to live in Malibu, so I drove up the coast and spent some time with him. And the more Jude and I researched the original intention of Doyle's description of Holmes and Watson, the more perfect it became to be interpreting them. Reinterpreting them for us was actually more of a return to their original descriptions.
Okay, so you guys, the chemistry between the two of you was spot on. I mean, just fantastic. Better than some of the female male parts I've seen you guys with on screen. Seriously. What was it? How did you guys bond so well, and how did you connect?
Respect, I think, initially.
Truly. And also, just as, well, you know, as actors initially, it was clear we both loved this idea of these two opposing personalities having to live together, and the domestic nature of their relationship, which, you know, spirals also into situations where they're up against, you know, 14 hooded dudes with sticks, and yet they're more interested in bickering about whether they left the hob on or you know, are those my shoes, that kind of vibe. And that as actors just really turned us on.
It's
on
the
a
movies
personal
we love
level,
to see.
yeah, and on a personal level, you know, you can't work that equation out. It just happens, and you get on, and you have fun, and you support each other when the other's down, and or feeling a little exhausted or whatever it is, and that's a beautiful thing, because that doesn't happen often.
Well, why do Holmes and Watson, you know, complement each other? Because when I was watching your portrayal, I mean, he just was a spoiled little petulant child. I mean, he's going off to get married, and hello, your best friend is, you know, you're a little worried.
Well, he gets put in a position where Mary Morstan, John Watson's fiance, asks Holmes to tell her something about herself. He tries not to, but he can't help himself, and when he does, although he gets it almost entirely right, he insults her. Now, it's not his fault she asked, but the truth be told is he has a ulterior motive, and that is to try to convince John that she's not right for him, and that the reason he hasn't found a suitable ring is because he can't imagine a life without me. Okay. Now, I think that doesn't make him a spoiled child. I think that makes him any person who's been in a lasting friendship that I've ever known. You kind of try to state your case as to why you need to stay my friend.
Yeah. Do you see these guys as as superheroes in a way?
Superheroes to me implies a different genre of movie, and this is an action adventure. But what it really is it's a literary national treasure of the UK and the world at large. So to me, it kind of transcends that. That's more of a modern idea to me, and I think this is more in the, you know.
I think also why the reason this duo and this particular legend has lasted so well is because there are human flaws to the both of them, and they both recognise that in each other and sort of support each other when the other lacks. But it's their humanity, it's their flaws and their frailties in a way that make their brilliance all the more extraordinary.
Yeah, here's a basic thing. I set him up to believe that somebody is reading his fortune. In fact, I don't believe in that stuff. I'm just trying to prove a point. He then asked for the money that, as a gambler, he bet on me for the fights that I go have, and I give him his winnings. He then goes and shows me that he's not afraid to marry this girl by buying a wedding ring. And then he boasts that he has a little change left over, and I ask him, do you want me to hold on to that for you? And he goes, I'm fine. Then I go into a dangerous situation, and it's probably one of the most dramatic moments in the movie, even though it's just somewhere in the middle, where he goes, I can't leave him alone. So no matter what we're going through or what our foibles are, we realize we have to look after each other. And I think that's the basis for any lasting friendship.
Truly.
Absolutely. Very physical film. Where you got, like, I mean, it was just fantastic to watch those scenes. I hope you guys came out unscathed and not bruised up. And how did you handle it?
Well, the fun part of those is that it means that you keep yourself in good shape and you take them seriously and you have as much fun to make sure they look real and as you can, but equally, you also have to pay attention. Just remember when to block.
And you gotta have a little fight in you. You have to be willing to be more aggressive than these stuntmen who are just so used to getting banged around, and they're kind of wondering what you're made of.
Yeah, truly.
That said, the truth be told us, we were waking up, and by the time we were shooting the stage work in New York, we were waking up at 4:45, and if I was challenging him, hey, why don't we go bang out a workout before we go to work to shoot the action sequence, he'd be like, oh, be there. And so pretty soon we were meeting each other earlier and earlier for workouts. One day I don't know why, it was like the sun wasn't even up and we were lifting crazy, and he went, ah! And then for the
I did my neck in that
for the next 3 or 6 weeks, we were doing fight scenes, and he was like, I'm fine, I just can't turn my head.
Did you adapt okay to your nickname, Hotson? Because I totally agreed with it.
Do you? I don't know, I was too busy getting used to my tashe to really take it at all seriously.
Have you ever seen a guy adjust better to a tashe? I saw him without it afterwards, and I was like, that's not my Judesie. How do you really feel about Hotson? Is it embarrassing, or is it kind of...
I think it demeans the approach, the serious work I put into keeping this man terribly, terribly believable.
You're both Hotsons as far as I'm concerned. You
Thank
did a fantastic job.
I'd like to at least get a side Hotson. Thank you.
You got one for sure. You guys were fantastic in this movie. Can't wait. Lots more, I'm sure, will be coming your way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to talk.